Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and I'm not croaking like a frog. I actually feel pretty good. We are going to be bullshitting about For Honor. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Grandmouse 1.
For Honor is actually one of the AAA titles that hit in this very, very busy year. It's going to be a really busy year for video games, and the front end of this year is really top-heavy. For Honor was one of those AAA titles that a lot of people were looking forward to. Ubisoft put it out. People jumped into it, and they're like, hey, multiplayer Musou type game, all right, where not only do you allow me to play as samurais, you can allow me to play as, medieval knights, also Vikings. Yes, I know they would have never run into each other in real life in history, but you're going to give us the opportunity to go ahead and do this sort of thing, right? Well, suffice it to say, it's a game that, is very reliant on its multiplayer and its player community for its success. Well, what happened around March 30th, at the end of March, was that there was a huge Reddit thread that we'll go ahead and we'll link to below that pretty much was calling for players to go out of their way and boycott For Honor. What was happening is that there was a bunch of issues that a lot of players would had they were complaining about on a regular basis, and one of the Reddit thread starter, he went ahead and he started taking note of all the things that people were complaining about, the issues that they were saying, and he was like, with all the stuff that's going on, with as many resources as Ubisoft has, they can actually go ahead and address a lot of this stuff. In their thread title, thread opening, pretty much they laid out 5 particular demands. Okay, the first one was that Ubisoft should start communicating with their player community better, because up until that point they had been pretty much, hey, look, we'll release patches whenever, and if you guys want an update, go ahead and subscribe to our fucking Twitter page. All right, in which case, if they were getting any news, it was only 140 characters, and that was it. All right. They weren't getting any direct feedback from a lot of people, and and the feedback that they were getting back was very short, curt, and a lot of times really, really vague, and not very much addressing their type of issues. Okay,
we're working on it.
Pretty much. All right. Or you copy and paste that enough times to fill up 140 characters. That was pretty much their response for that stuff. All right. Wrapped into that, one of the things that they complained about, or they went ahead, they wanted Ubisoft to work on was, okay, communicate your future plans to us. Are we at this point where are you just going to dump? You're not going to give a fuck about us as a player community, and you're going to dump support for it, and you're just gonna, everything is gonna be, we'll get around to it, but you guys still keep on paying us money for those microtransactions, so we really don't need to fix anything. That was another thing. The third of the demands was they wanted to go ahead and see the way that Steel, which is the in-game currency, was implemented. The implementation, they needed that to change. The reason why this is so important is that Steel is the in-game currency, okay? Just like a lot of multiplayer games and a lot of games that are out there in the modern ether, whether or not it's on your phone or your main consoles like your Xbox One, PS4, and even on the PC, there are microtransactions, okay? You could either go out of your way to buy Steel directly, or you could buy gear directly, paying real money for virtual items, or you can go ahead and you can gather Steel in-game, right? But here's the problem with a lot of players. Somebody went out of their way and they averaged out how much Steel you actually earn per match, and then they totaled up how much Steel was required to go ahead and buy and unlock all of the equipment and gear that the game actually offers to you. And in order to go ahead and earn enough Steel to unlock all of the items and all the gear that's available to you as a player, you would literally have to play the game for like 9 years straight, okay? That is 2,000 hours a year, a full-time fucking job, all right, for 9 years. So that is 18,000 fucking hours, okay, that you are not getting paid for, that you would have to go ahead and play the game individually, solely. That would be your full-time fucking job for 9 years in order to go ahead and unlock everything. Okay, of which, to compound on the communication issue that Ubisoft, when somebody actually brought that up to Ubisoft, their simple response was, "We never intended players to be able to unlock everything in the game." So the reason why that's so important is it comes down to the fourth issue that they had with the game, and that was with matchmaking. You see, For Honor as a game, just like a lot of games that are out there, is that it's dependent on its multiplayer, and matchmaking is really important because the thing about it is that you can have players with better gear, all right, and they can be running into the game. The matchmaking, if it's just looking at levels, let's say you've got like a level 20 character, a guy who's just played through, he's been hardcore on this game, sinking dozens and dozens of hours, for over the last few months, okay, but he hasn't went out of his way to buy any extra steel or buy any extra gear like that. Let's say he's at a level 20, right? You have another character who's at level 20, but he's spent a few $100 on extra steel and better gear. Well, that guy will wreck the other player 9 times out of 10. Guess what? His advantage is so big, he will wreck the other player's team if they're like him 9 times out of 10. Okay? And the matchmaking doesn't account for that. So that's a big, big deal for these guys who are going out of the way and they're trying to play the game and be competitive. They don't want to spend extra money out of pocket, So that was one of the things that they put forward. The fifth demand out of everything else was that they needed an ETA from Ubisoft as far as when they were going to respond and when they were going to go ahead and put together a patch. What this was all about was that they were planning a boycott. They were telling players, do not play the game for 24 hours on April 3rd. Okay? If you decide not to play the game again after that or not play for longer than that, you can go ahead and do that. But the way that they surmised is that the huge player drop-off for that one single day should be enough to go out of their way and convince Ubisoft to change things. Well, before that date happened, Ubisoft went out of their way and they did a little patch. The patch went ahead and it pretty much fixed a few bugs and it made a few balance changes, but there wasn't any really big communication about it. There wasn't any real big communication regarding the boycott, which, to the folks on Reddit and the player community, to their fucking credit, they were very well organized and they were very well spoken. They communicated to Ubisoft directly, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop playing your fucking game on this day. And depending on what you give us, or depending on your response, it really wasn't anything about what they gave the players. It was really about how they would respond. Depending on the response, it may be for longer. And Ubisoft went ahead and they're like, "Oh, we got to fix," and it really didn't cover anything much about what they were talking about. So the players went through with the boycott. I believe on that day they dropped like over 85% of the players that normally play on that day did not show up. And up to this day, I think they've lost over 60% of the player base. So out of that 80%, almost over half of them didn't come back to play after that. So this is actually pretty interesting, guys. I want to go ahead and get your thoughts on it before I ramble on. I know I've already spent like 10 minutes explaining the situation. So what are your thoughts on this particular boycott for this game? And do you think it's a good idea? Do you think we should be doing this for more games? I think we should. But I want to get your thoughts. Go ahead. The floor is open.
Yes, I think that we should be doing this for more games. If shit is not balanced, if shit is fucked up, if shit is broken in any way, shape, or form, especially when you have it that, okay, people bought this game at full price. Now you're going to break it to the point where people can pay more and next thing you know have a distinctive advantage no matter what. Just because they shelled out more money, which shouldn't be happening anyway. Look, if everything was earned by these characters, and stuff, so on and so forth, that they became so powerful because they played the game so much, okay, fine. But You got people that would actually buy shit and microtransactions and hype their characters all up so they can just decimate teams alone. And it's like, come on, dude. There's no way that that should be happening. But anyway, about the boycott. More games should be participating in stuff like that. Street Fighter V says hello. Anything that, look, broken, incomplete, anything like, or if it's specifically that people ask for, and if the people's, get organized and they say, have this for us or else. And then the company was like, or else what? Bam, click, gone. We don't play that shit no more. We don't put the game in no more. Yeah, they have those servers running. They're losing money. They're not making any progress. And it's like, look, as long as you're going to ignore us, as long as you're going to feed us garbage, give us excuses as far as things being broken, yeah, we're going to stay away from this until you fix it. But the way you explained it, Reverend, as far as how this thing was just absolutely devastated and just broken, I applaud gamers for actually setting up the boycott and actually going through it, because there are a lot of gamers out there that wouldn't even do it for any game. They will still play shit that's messed up. They'll play shit that's broken, and they'll deal with it. And I've always said, hit them in their fucking wallets and their time, and then shit will get done. Shit will change. Things will get better. Stop buying microtransactions. Boycott is a good idea.
What about you, Grey Mouse? What are your thoughts on it, sir?
Well, UBI Soft again released a broken game again. I mean, what was it? Assassin's Creed Unity, where the game was so fucked up it's unplayable. I agree 100% with what everybody said thus far. However, I do want to have a counter point to, I think, number 3, I think you said, about the company saying that they cannot, they never intended unlock stuff. My counterpoint for that is because the reason why I'm at this perspective is because I play a lot of MMOs. For example, Guild Wars 2 and other MMOs. And those type of games you cannot get everything. It's just virtually impossible for you to get everything. And I can understand a little bit by what Ubisoft is saying about that. I mean, if people are mad because they can't get everything in a game at this moment, like a month later after the game's released, 2 months later, a year or 2 years after the game's released, fuck you. Come on, man. You got to be reasonable there. But, I mean, I would say that to get everything 5 years, that's a safe time frame, I think. But you got those people that can only spend so much time and stuff like that, may not even update, but or not even able to get those perks or whatever. But one thing that I'm 100% against is power creep, and that's what this was. Power creep. That's an old term that's actually used for the PC master race bullshit. But what that basically is allowing pay to play or pay to win, and that's pretty much what they did with their gear. And I'm 100% against that. And those demands to me seem reasonable, with the exception of that one point about, I kind of felt that those guys were feeling like they're kind of entitled to unlock everything all within the first month of the game's release. Maybe I read that wrong, but I really don't think that everybody should be able to unlock stuff up and like the first year of the game's out. I mean, there's you got to keep people interested in the game to keep coming back for that game. And so those people that think they need to have everything unlocked within the first couple of months, that's just pure bullshit. That you're just being entitled on that. That's just my opinion. But as for the boycott, I agree 100% that the thing that really was interesting about this was that a group of gamers got together and actually, organized on Reddit or other gaming forums to organize this as a walkout day, a blackout day, you know, and it wasn't violent or anything like that. You know, it's like, hey, we're just going to turn the game off for one day, and you know, there's still those guys who still play that day. I'm quite sure, but I think it really did send the message to Ubisoft. But the problem is that nothing's changed since then. So, and now and like you said, Reverend, you lost 65% of your player base because you're not wanting to fix shit. And that's just typical Ubisoft. I mean, I don't know why they can't get it together. I mean, Assassin's Creed Unity was a colossal failure. I mean, you had fucking disfigured. I mean, man, this is sad. I guess this is the first game of the year that's actually was sent out broken. That's unplayable, you know. And it's like
it was playable.
Yeah.
No, it's unplayable. That's unplayable. That game was unplayable.
Not if you want to keep it competitive. Right?
Unplayable. I'd be damned if somebody fucking just chopped me down with one slice. No. Could you imagine that shit in Halo or something like that?
Dark Souls.
Days.
Wait, what was the energy sword?
I'm just saying that Halo 2 days back when they were fucking switching and all that shit.
Oh.
Mag switch.
No, that was cheating.
That is not fun. It's still broken code is what I'm saying. But still, you know, those guys need to get it together. Ubisoft needs to get it together.
One thing I want to comment about what you said, that they, you know, organize a walkout or a protest. Could you imagine gamers going on the street with signs? That's what I immediately thought about when you said that. I'm like, please don't go that route, gamers. Don't go to the fucking streets with signs.
All gear matters.
In Montreal, they'll be right there at Ubisoft's office. Is just
no.
Matchmaking matters.
Fix your shit.
I think here's the thing with this. All right, with this particular one, and you know, I'm going to counterpoint Gray Mouse's thing with like number 3. The thing about number 3, it wasn't the fact. I don't think it was the fact that it took 9 years. It's just the fact that when Ubisoft went ahead and responded back about it, it was like, well, you're not supposed to do that. That's what people what people took away from it, and it wasn't a real answer. It was more like look, if my wife's nephews, all right, are over here at my house and they start fucking around with my shit, I tell them to get the fuck out of the room. They ask me why they're not supposed to be fucking around with my shit. Well, I'm going to tell them right off the bat, you're not supposed to be fucking doing that. This is my shit, okay? That's because I can answer in that manner because guess what? They're 12, okay? They aren't grown fucking people paying for their own shit, all right?
You're assuming that the
But I know what you're saying. I'm assuming that you know, it's not just a bunch of 13-year-olds.
Straight white male is your audience. A straight white male.
I'm going to say, wait. That's your audience. They're mentally 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah, but I would have to say that the whole thing about it wasn't the fact that it would take 9 years to go out of your way to get all that stuff. It's the fact that you're going to sit there and tell people that they're not supposed to get all that shit, but if they spend the money to, they're more than free to do that, and then they could wreck my shit all over the place in multiplayer.
That was a shitty attitude. Yeah,
I
agree. Shitty attitude was. But for I guess they assumed that, you know, they could have worded it better than saying, well, you guys aren't supposed to unlock everything in the game anyway. That's a pretty shitty answer.
Yeah, that, you know, I mean, and the thing about it is that, like I said, it's one of those things where, to tell you the truth, I'm not big on multiplayer games, and part of the reason is kind of this is the fact that, you know, I don't want to have the grief of being stuck into something where it's like, well, my experience is going to be shitty every time, you know, 90% of the time I jump into it. All right, I don't want that to be the case. what I will say, just like everybody else said in this particular video, I do have to give props to the player community, the For Honor player community, that they actually went out of their way and they were able to sit down and organize shit and put things aside, stop calling each other gay and telling each other that, hey, after I teabag you, I'm going to fuck your mom, all right, and all that other shit that they usually do during multiplayer. And they actually got down. Yeah, they still do that, but they actually sat down and they organized a real player event, a boycott. Okay, and generally speaking, a lot of publishers out there will sit there and say, hey, these video game players, they're like autistic, retarded children. They will do anything as long as you get them on that string to go ahead and keep on doing it. And this is one of those things where it's like they went out their way. They proved, hey, look, you have cognizant thinking people on this side who know what the fuck is going on. I don't think it's a big deal that matchmaking is busted, but when it becomes very obvious that it's a pay to win type system where it's like, hey, look, that gear is not just giving you like a 5 to 10% advantage over other players. It's giving you like a 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% advantage over fucking players. Where, like I said, you could have one guy who's geared up really fucking well and he's like a fucking juggernaut, not just going through you, but all of your fucking teammates. Okay. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is shitty. All right. And I'm not gonna blame Ubisoft for designing their game to make as much money as possible, because that's what they're supposed to do. But I will sit there and say that talk to us like adults, please. All right, look, people went out of their way and they complained about, what was it? The Tom Clancy one. What was it called?
Division.
Yeah, the Division. All right, the Division was pretty much broken. Okay, during the first 2.5, 3 months it was out, it was pretty much broken, and people complained the fuck out of it. And they actually fixed things, all right? The Division now actually has more players than what it had like 4 months ago, okay? Because it's playable now, and people can go out of their way, and they can actually enjoy the game in a realistic sense. They aren't tied to having to deal with all of the game-breaking issues that were there before. So Ubisoft goes out of their way. They churn out another multiplayer game. It's a different genre and everything else, but it's also under the same type of market strategy and everything. They want multiplayer. They want players constantly on this thing, and hopefully they can go ahead and snag little microtransactions here and there. Look, I understand they're there. I'm not going to sit there and tell you how to spend your money or anything like that. And I'm also not going to discourage publishers from doing that, as long as you don't make it a play-to-win type thing, all right? A pay-to-win type thing, all right? Because that's just fucks it for everybody, all right? It stops being about whoever has the best skill. It starts being about whoever is most foolish and foolhardy with their wallet, okay?
No, it's whoever has the best gear.
Yeah, no, the reason why... Yeah, the reason why they get the best gear is because they don't give a fuck. They're just going to go ahead and open up their wallet, okay? And, yeah, with this is one of those things where, look, Ubisoft, if they're going to learn anything about this, the average gamer, according to the last statistics that I saw, is between the age of 21 to 38. This is no longer Johnny and little Susie, all right, having video games bought for them by their fucking parents. No, little Johnny and little Susie, they fucking grew up. It's Mr. Johnny and Mrs. Susie, okay? They have their own fucking money, okay? And they're going to spend it however the fuck they want on the things that they like. And guess what? If you put out a game that they don't like and is fucking busted, they will take their money someplace else.
Really? Because according to certain games, they're not doing that. And that's why I'm encouraging more boycotts to take place.
Generally speaking, they will. Okay. I think the biggest difference though is that let's take Street Fighter V, and we've been talking about Street Fighter V for a long time. All right, for actually more than a year now, if you consider like the first few times that we went ahead and we made our videos. All right, who the fuck in their right mind? Who the fuck in the trenches is going to go out of their way and sit there and say we got to boycott Street Fighter V?
That's the problem. People won't do it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, Street Fighter V has came a long way since it first was released.
What? No, it has.
It has.
It has. It has.
It has.
2 years and it still doesn't have an arcade mode in there.
Yeah, I mean,
have an arcade mode.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to happen. All right, and the thing about it is, as long as they allow me to go ahead and start story mode over and over, and I can still earn fight money for doing that, I'm not going to tell them about that fucking bug. I'll keep on doing it. All right. So, but
earn fight money because
yeah,
I think you complete the story and that's done.
No, not the individual player stories. I'm talking about the actual story mode. All right,
the Master Race.
But you know, the whole thing with that is that if players, I think our big point between all three of us is that let's say if players went out of their way and boycotted Street Fighter V for one day,
24 hours, it's not enough.
No, I mean if they sat there and they had everything just drop for one day, you know, sit there and go ahead and illustrate to
at least
the powers that P. Well, to illustrate the powers that P, that look, this is something that we are actually willing to do. Then yeah, I think it would make a difference. Granted, it's not.
But wait, that's like when people say they're going to strike on gasoline for some reason, and they don't buy gasoline for that one day, but that next day, gas stations are crowded as fuck. So if they even drop it for one day, 24 hours, the very next day they could probably play it for twice as fucking long.
Yeah.
So it means nothing.
But even at that point though, is that there's never been anybody up until this point that actually went out of their way and organized a boycott on a video game. You know, if somebody actually had the balls to sit there and go out of their way and say, hey, look, maybe this is something that we should do for the betterment of our gaming community, I think that a lot of the games that are out there would probably be in a lot more playable states than they are now.
I thought they did that for the World of Warcraft, one of the expansions.
Imagine if people didn't buy the next Madden.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
they would have to work on it. They would have to improve it. They would have to create some different shit. It would actually get better.
The problem with Madden until the further notice is the fact that there's no competition for that. When it comes to For Honor, guess what? Shit. For Ubisoft, they have the division itself to go ahead. Their own fucking game that'll act as competition for them, that people can go ahead and distract themselves with.
Well, Capcom's going to have competition later on this year with Tekken 7 and Injustice and fucking, the King of Fighters got their characters out and
yep.
The Guilty Gear, all that shit.
Yep, and that's something that we're going to have to go ahead and revisit. When with all this said and done, I think it's an incredible thing. I think a lot more gamers have to do that, and I think all of us will agree that. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. What are your thoughts on it, folks? What do you think about the boycott? What do you think about Ubisoft's response? They still haven't fixed things, just to let you know. All right. Leave us a comment below. While you're at it, hit like, hit subscribe. We absolutely love it when you do that. We are the Middle-Aged Guys. We've been bullshitting about the For Honor boycott for the last 35 minutes.